Chauvo-Feminism is a long-form feminist essay exploring sex, power, and Me Too. It combines memoir, essay, the interviews with men and women concerning their experiences of Me Too, with a look at Me Too, the aftermath, the positives, the backlash, and an analysis of the Harvey Weinstein scandal and the harassment case at the Ford company. It starts off with my personal experience of dealing with a Chauvo-Feminist, a British academic from an American university who I met a few summers ago and had a fling with. He had a problem with women. He had had many experiences with women that summer, and after our fling, for no discernible reason, he turned on me and became very destructive towards me and my career. Initially, I was gaslit by him. I was believing of his excuses because he had a tendency to go online and tweet links to feminist articles, and this was part of his persona. His emotional abuse was also very insidious, subtle, slippery, and hard to pin down. Eventually, I began to realise that he was a dangerous character and had the potential to wreck my career. I don't want to name and shame this guy. I don't believe that trial by Twitter is right for me, but I did want to explore my experiences in this essay because, having spoken to various other women, it's a fairly common experience. They too told me about their experiences with Chauvo-Feminist, such as one woman who had a date with a guy. They went back to his flat. He tried to coerce her into a violent sex act and humiliated her when she asked to go home and get a taxi. But a few years later, he was tweeting his support for all the wronged women who had suffered at the hands of Harvey Weinstein. This sort of hypocrisy, the gap between actions and social persona, is such a vast gap that I coined the term Chauvo-Feminism. This refers to men who use feminism as a smokescreen to conceal their abusive behaviour. It's not intended as a misandrous term. It doesn't apply to all men in general. There are many men who tweet their support for feminism and mean it, many men who champion feminism, such as Andy Murray, for whom I'm full of admiration. It refers specifically to those who are using it as an abusive shield. Throughout the book, I explore a number of different themes, such as gaslighting, various types of abuse, the future of Me Too, and I take a look at the wider issues that have come up in relation to this. There's a pattern there which relates to my personal experience, in that Harvey Weinstein was also, to a degree, a Chauvo-Feminist, particularly in his final years, as his power was starting to crumble and his actions were beginning to catch up with him. For example, he went on a women's march at the Sundance Film Festival, close to the vicinity of the hotel where, a few years earlier, he had allegedly raped Rose McGowan. Eric Schneiderman, the 65th New York Attorney General, was key in bringing a case against Weinstein and fighting for justice. He was a Democrat with a reputation for championing women's issues. However, in May 2018, the New Yorker ran an article. They had interviewed 4 of his exes who said that Schneiderman had belittled them, assaulted them and abused them, and that there was a huge discrepancy between his public feminist persona and the man that he was in private. Schneiderman initially denied the allegations, but soon after he resigned. This was a pattern I saw time and time again, both in my personal life and on the wider stage, and it was something that I wanted to explore in this essay. I also take a look at various myths surrounding Me Too. In particular, I explore the idea of agency, whether or not Me Too makes women fragile, victims, lacking agency and strength, as some detractors have claimed. I argue that this isn't the case, having looked deeply into various cases such as the Weinstein, those who suffered at the hands of Weinstein, or Christy Van and those who were harassed at the Ford Motor Company. I look at the way that social structures mean that no matter how much you want to have agency, if you're coming up against a repressive cultural environment that has no respect for women, it's very hard to fight back. as many of those women did for years and years, until the watershed moment in 2017.